Welcome to episode 40 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast for sharing tips, apps, and gear for iPhone and iPad, along with related technologies that get us using iOS in a fun, productive, and meaningful way. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and joining me today is Kelly Guimont. How are you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing well, David. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yes.
I think, as I've talked about with every guest I've had on here, you and I met for the first time in MacStock, which I was very excited. We had a lot of fun. And
Such fun.
I remember some cake eating that occurred when you and my wife crashed a bride that came back to the hotel. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. It was actually like we didn't mean to crash.
No, it was kind of like
we just showed up and they were right at the door, and so we walked into the middle of.
It was a perfect scenario.
Wedding party aftermath, and hey, there's cake. And they were like handing it out to everybody.
There was a lot.
There was so much cake.
It was fun.
I remember it well.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of fun. So,
and also cake.
And a lot of cake too. A few adult beverages as well.
Yes,
including the karaoke scene. Remember, and we had a lot of fun. MacStock is a blast. I can't wait for next year to see what happens.
I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Yes, absolutely. So, and you just joined Mac Observer, which is very exciting. The Daily Observations podcast.
Well, I'm hosting now. I used to just show up on Wednesdays, and now you get to hear me every day.
Yeah. Jeff Gamet went over to Smile Software, right?
He did,
and that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, and just wanted everybody to know who Kelly is, because some of you may not, but I would think you might, because we are in the kind of the circle of the Apple community here. So, I think what we're going to do is hit a bit of news. I didn't have too much news. Actually, was pretty quiet this week, and there wasn't really much.
Yeah.
But you just switched to an Apple Watch from the Series 0 to the Series 4, which is cool.
Yes.
So I think that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And of course, everybody knows I'm the early adopter. And what did I do? I went and purchased the iPad Pro. I got the 11-inch with the whole shebang. So you and I will have a good discussion about the iPad Pro and lots of fun things to talk about. So only bit of news I had was the iOS. I like to talk a little bit about the beta stuff that comes out. And 12.1.1 did come out to the developers. I think there was another seed that was on Wednesday, actually. And it looks like they're just doing some bug updates. There really isn't a huge change I noticed. They did introduce the feature that lets you take live photos while on a FaceTime call, which is I'm happy with that. And I guess they did some updates to the iPhone XR, which I did not buy. Of course, I have the XS Max. Talk about another show. So, and I guess some updates to the Apple News. So nothing too terribly exciting, you think?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that really jumps out at me. Most of what I've seen is like updates and things, where what am I trying to say? All of a sudden, there was the update that came out like just for the XR, and like Spotify released an update, so now you sort of have it on an Apple Watch, and some little things like that are sort of taking new shapes, but nothing super like breathtaking or anything.
No, again, I think a lot of the news was last week or the week before with the announcement, and I think we did have the Apple announcement. I haven't done the show since the announcement happened.
The follow up is just that the stuff is out now, so you can get your hands on it. So
the stuff is out, and which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, and I think that's all we really need to talk about with news this week. We want to talk about the meat and potatoes of this episode. The fact that I knew you and I had talked about it, that you were definitely looking to get a new watch. You were ready
how I was.
even my wife got one, and she had the Series 0, and I said, if you want this watch, we have to just get you Series 4 and be done with it, because it was painfully slow. I just tried to get it updated. It was a 4.3.3, and it was just it took forever. So how's your experience so far with the Series 4?
Fantastic. Partly because it was the 0, so I feel like I'm noticing everything that everyone who upgraded everybody who bought a Series 4, but it wasn't their first Apple Watch, everybody says, it's a little faster, it's a little this, it's a little that, the battery life's a little better or whatever. But like, I'm seeing that because I literally went from the original watch to the oldest watch to the newest watch. And I'd had mine, I didn't buy it the minute they came out, but I think it was about a year in to the Series 0 cycle. And they said they were releasing a new watchOS update. And everything was going to be so much better and so much faster and so much. And so at the time, I texted my husband and I said, no new hardware, because we had both been sort of considering. And I said, no hardware announcement, new watchOS, all of this is going to happen. And then a little while later, I started getting text alerts from Best Buy that my order was on its way, or that it was processing and it was ready for me to pick up, because I live about 10 minutes from a Best Buy. Yeah. So I got we've received your order, and then your order is processing, and then your order is ready for pickup. Show us this text message when you get here. Da 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 da. So I'm like, is this legit? And he wrote me back and said, you have an order ready. Go pick it up. And so I went, and he wouldn't talk. He wasn't talking really about what it was. And so I go to Best Buy and I'm like, hi, I have an order for pickup. And they handed me 2 Apple Watches. And I'm like,
nice.
Okay. I know what I'm doing with the rest of my night, and went home and super excited and put it all together. And for me, it was a very easy adoption, and it became something that I relied on pretty heavily from the start. His less so. But I talk to my arm constantly now, setting timers and texting people back and remind me about this, because I do a lot of set a reminder for, later today, remind me in 3 hours, or remind me at 5 p.m. Just so that it pops up on my radar again as something that I need to make sure happens today. Yep. So I do quite a bit of that. So having all of that available on my arm was even better. And excuse me, it also had the side effect of making me go through every single thing on my phone that I allow to notify me of anything.
That's the first thing I did on the. I just.
But the side effect of it was, well, I'm not letting that go to my arm, and then it was like, why am I letting that go to my lock screen? Yeah. And so I ended up turning down the volume on a bunch of other stuff too. So I have a lot less notifying happening in general on either screen. Honestly, I have very small hands and very small wrists. And so I was sort of worried about what a slightly bigger watch was going to look like. I felt like the first one, until I got used to wearing it, I felt like the first one was really big for me. Because I had the 38. And so now I have the 40, and I was worried about it. And then I just sort of got used to it, what it looked like on my arm. Cause I'm like, well, I'm not taking it off. So I got used to it. And then, I'm in the camp of people that's excited about the watch face that gives you all the information in the world all the time. The one they show on there that
if I can bring it up here so you can see on where.
Yes, the one that regular people look at and go, "How on earth do you find out anything on a screen that looks like that?" And I'm like, "No, I'm trying to figure out how to add another widget. I want one more. I always want one more than however many you give me." So
it does take a little bit for me to get used to the hands again, because I would always use the face I used before was all digital face. But the nice thing, you have a widget that you can add the digital clock at the top. So I have the little bonus so I can see, hey, well, I can. Yeah, that's what time it is. You forget that years of you walking, looking at it. And I got all these watches I used to wear over the years that had hands. I was so used to that, but then I lost that when I was because I basically had all the Apple. I think about it. Oh my gosh, I had all 3. I've had all 4 of them. Well, I'm a crazy person, but what I would do is I would sell them. So it's not like I lost too much on it. And then it's the same thing I will do with the iPad is so I have the 10.5. So
yeah.
Have you you're using the Walkie Talkie feature at all?
I am. It's ridiculous and fun.
Yeah, it's like Dick Tracy.
Yeah, mostly, I think the person I would use it with most would be Mr. Kelly. But he hasn't upgraded yet. He hasn't upgraded his watch, and it wasn't. he didn't put as much, like he wore it every day, but he didn't put the mileage on it that I did. Like he was actually just sort of using it as a watch in his next appointment, and he can get that from his phone screen. So he hasn't seen the need to upgrade it yet, but I've been really excited to pester people with the Walkie Talkie because I can. And a couple of times I've been like out with people and trying to coordinate, we're all meeting up in a certain place, or been at an event where there are a lot of people and being able to coordinate. So like next summer at MacStock, the Walkie Talkie is going to be awesome because everybody's just going to be able to be like, which end of the bar are you at? And then be able to tell, and then
You'll have me on there when we're
yeah.
out.
See, I'll just get everybody added, and then I can go through and go, your song is next at karaoke. Right. You need to come back to the bar. So it'll be great. I have really liked it. The one thing I think that bothers me about the watch is that, and I don't think the other stuff does it, but specifically the stand bothers. When it tells you it's time to stand up, they don't fit on my screen.
Yeah.
And it's like bigger than the screen. And I'm like, you made my screen bigger. Like, why did you make the notification even bigger than the bigger screen? Because it looks like, it's not scaling it down or anything. It just looks like it takes up more space because you can see where like the edges of the buttons cut off and stuff. And I have to scroll it down a little bit in order to get all the way down, in order to get dismiss high enough up that I can hit dismiss. So I'm like, come on.
I don't notice that on the 44 because it usually that's.
Yeah, you probably don't have that problem.
So they didn't scale it. That's probably what happened.
Yeah. And the other small thing about it is that I got a Series 4 with the sport band.
Yeah, I like the band.
And I had been sort of eyeing a sport band already. I was thinking about maybe picking one up if I got some birthday money. And so I was thinking like I'd treat myself to one because I knew a couple of people who had them and had tried them for a while and liked them. And, like the Velcro didn't get really fuzzy over time or anything like that. So I was like, maybe I should get one of those because I always seem, it doesn't matter if it's like a band from Apple or a band from not Apple. Somehow my wrist is like right between two buckles like every time. So I always am looking for like some other way to do that. And when there's no notches for the buckle to buckle into, you can put it exactly where it needs to go. So this has by far been the most comfortable band I've had so far. I really like it.
Yeah. You can see here, there's my collection of bands right there.
Well, if they're not official, I want to find out about your unofficial watch band sources because I'm looking for some.
This was through the Cubs, the Chicago Cubs, and that was me. But I think the rest of these are. Oh, I'm not showing you the metal ones. The metal ones were unofficial.
Okay.
So those through the one that's $149 through Apple, the class.
Yeah.
Those were like $20 through Amazon. So
yeah.
Yeah, if you saw, I got the Velcro one as well as the those Velcro with the buckle. That not Velcro, but it's with the cloth.
Oh yeah.
But the one I'm wearing is actually the Nike band.
Oh okay.
Yeah. But I like rotating. I mean, I'll wear the band for a while, and then it's like, it's time for a change.
Yeah.
I'll go to the Velcro. I really do like the Velcro one. It's very comfortable. It's probably of all the ones that I've worn, it is very comfortable. Mm-hmm. Are you doing any fitness stuff? Do you use any of that for fitness?
I do. I have started, as much as it counts for fitness, I play Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah, cool.
And
let's go shout out for him, Barry. He's with you, so I'm sure he catches.
Well, and so I do that, and then also I was doing Zombies Run for a while and kind of fell off that bandwagon. And I'm not even like a zombie movie, Walking Dead like fan, but the story's really good. And so I really like getting to getting to get into that and like listen to the story and the interaction of the characters and everything. And so I fell off the bandwagon, and Zombies Run has the same company also makes something that's a story set in the same universe. That's like a side story that's couched to 5K program.
Yep.
So I started doing that, and then I got really sick and couldn't even like get on the elliptical and walk around for any length of time. So I quit doing that. But I'm going to start that back up again and do the couch to 5K to get back some endurance, and then hop back on the actual Zombies Run train, because it's really fun. Yeah. And I like the outside aspect of it, like where, like, because it tells you, like, it's an interval training. So it's like, zombies are coming, you better go a little faster. And so then you have to like run a little faster. And I like the, like I said, I like the story of it. And there's like stuff going on, and you hear other characters, you get to interact with folks. And I like that a little better, I think, for running and stuff than maybe listening to podcasts and things, because I don't like running. And I think most exercise really sucks. And so being able to find a way to make it a little more fun is really nice.
No, of course. And speaking of podcasts, I think they really did a great job of improving doing the podcasts and controlling them, because when I'm going to listen to TDO, it brings up on my on my watch, and I can control it playing, so I don't have to pull out my iPhone to play it. But there is also apps out there where you actually can, we've talked about it before, where you could actually download podcasts right onto the watch and just use it as a player while you're walking around, if you don't want to go out and use your AirPods and be able to listen that way. Is there any other apps that you ever utilize? I mean, I'm sure, of course, messaging, of course.
Messaging and Walkie Talkie. I use the timer as far as non-Apple apps, I guess. Yeah. I use Fantastical for my calendar, and I use Carrot Weather because there's only so many ways that I can watch the regular weather app tell me that it's raining. And so, because I live in Portland and we're entering the dark times, so it's going to rain until like February, and and then we're going to get like 3 nice days in February, and all the daffodils pop up, and then it snows on them. Okay, that's only happened like twice, but like generally, like I like there to be a little bit of variety, so I sort of like getting the different alerts, for weather commentary. That part I actually like. Yeah. And then, like I said, Fantastical was a no-brainer because it's what I use on my Mac. Right. And I just, like, for me, like, somehow it's just a calendar layout and a calendar setup that makes sense for me. So, like the regular calendar app, I have a hard time with sometimes. And so, and like Fantastical was one of the first where you could just natural language. So you could tell it lunch with David next Tuesday at 1, and it would just sort out all the stuff and where it went and give you the event. So, I like that one a lot. And then, I have one that gives me reminders, but I have to do the actual stuff on the app itself on my phone. And that's 10% Happier, which is a meditation app. And it sort of is, and the guy that is behind it is sort of like you can meditate for like a minute and be good, be cool with it, and like not have to sit there for an hour and, figure it all out. So I've been trying to do more of that, and that's been pretty fun too. But it's
crazy.
Probably most of what's on my phone or on my watch.
It's crazy to go through the list on your in the iPhone, the watch app. How many apps will be willing to install on your watch? And I have a huge list of apps, and I don't want to install them. It just
me too.
It's crazy. On 1Password, I don't use 1Password. I find that it's okay. I mean, as far as the watch goes, I mean, it's a great app otherwise.
Yeah.
But even like if you travel a lot with airlines and even the Apple stores on the watch, I haven't even played with that too much. But the camera control, like I said, I don't know even why I don't have Carrot installed. I can do that right now. So it is kind of cool what they have installed as far as apps when you have the choice. And again, I think like you said, you just go through it and say, hey, I don't want to. I go through them and say, because that's the thing by default. It tells you, okay, let's install them all. And no, I don't want every.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to navigate through that menu on there. And then you talk about the timer. I put the widget on the face on the bottom right. So I love how being able to just tap that and you have just quick timers, and then you can customize one if you want, and whenever you want to time something. And I think really that's that's why I really like this with this face, because it gives you a lot of stuff. It took a little time for me to get through it and say, hey, I don't want that. I want that. And then because I always love to have the battery. I want to see what the battery is. Always. Some people don't, but I do.
Yeah.
No, it's been a great experience. I think the Watch 4, you definitely notice difference in performance. I mean, for you, for sure.
Absolutely. Especially like starting a workout or near the end of the day, like especially if I'd been exercising during the day, all of a sudden the battery, I get the little buzz, and it's 10%. So I've really enjoyed like the responsiveness of everything. Launching an app is pronto. I go to the workouts app and it's like, which one? And I'm like, that one. And it goes 3, 2, 1 instead of like, hang on, give me a minute, I'll get there. And I'm like, the old one, like with everything, it was so hard. And
so now you'll get another good 3-4 years of use out of this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've got like, and I've got like Walkie Talkie and, which is a great feature. And, that teeny bit of extra screen makes a lot of stuff just a lot more manageable as far as like readability and scrolling and, that little bit of extra space. If you do like to sometimes scribble a quick message, reply to somebody or whatever, it's been really nice. And I think it might just be me projecting, but I feel like the screen is a nicer screen than my original watch as well.
It's totally, even between the 3 and the 4, I noticed a huge difference in the screen.
Good.
Oh yeah, they outdid themselves with this new watch. I mean, with the screen, it really is amazing. Even my wife, like I said, she got the new Apple Watch 4 and she had been using the Zero, or the battery pretty much conked out on the Zero because it would run out after half a day. She barely could use it anymore. It was sad.
I was basically like, if I know, like I would at like 10 to the hour, I'd get my little stand chirp and I would get up and walk around, and then I'd wait, I'd go, make some coffee or get a snack or something. And then when it was just past the top of the hour, I'd walk around a little bit more and get like my extra stand hour and then put my watch on to charge for the next 45 minutes and then put it back on. And then like, maybe I could make it through the afternoon. So I was really at a point where it was like untenable.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad. When you charge, do you still use the charger came with the watch, or because I have the stand then, which was a little pricey, but birthday gift. You flip, the one that's the little oval, and it flips up the stand, and you can.
Oh yeah.
I have that one. I've been using that for a while, and it's nice because it's nightstand mode. So you'll see my pick of a cool gear. It's like I'm pretty redundant of clocks, so it'll be. But I like it because it's so easy just to pop it. But you probably have just the regular charger and you lay it flat.
Yes and no. I use the cable that it came with, but I have one of those little the Mac.
The Mac one. Okay,
you drop the. Oh yes, it was so cute. I like stumbled across it on Amazon or something and went because I was looking for a shorter watch cable that I could take with me like when I travel. Right. So pro tip, if you need a 1-foot Apple Watch cable, it's a thing that exists.
It does exist.
And I was looking for one because I needed one that I could put in with my battery that I carry around for my phone, like my phone and my iPad, like, in case. I have a little Anchor 10,000 watt, 10,000 milliamp that I love. I have like the little one for my purse, and then I have like the 20,000 for my backpack. Like if we're going to Disneyland, I take the big battery. And so I had a cable, like a phone cable in with my battery charger. So I just wanted to add a watch cable. So if I'm like out to dinner and all of a sudden that's when my watch decided to give up, I could, start charging it. So somehow related to finding a short Apple Watch cable, I found this little classic Mac stand that you run an Apple Watch cable up into, and then you slide your watch into, like it's the screen. And I was like, oh, that was a no-brainer. Like that was one of the times when you like place the order on Amazon Prime and you debate like, should I just pay more and get it tomorrow? Because I don't know if I can wait that long.
That's right. No, it is cool. A lot of people have talked about that. It is a really cool little holder. My wife
the cutest.
She has a little holder I bought. Is same way. You stick the charger into it, and It's like a small little stand, but it's a lot cheaper than the base I have. So
yeah.
But anyway, I think you're gonna be fun. You're gonna enjoy it. And
I already do. I'm really excited. Like
had lots of discussions over the last few episodes about the Apple Watch, and I can't recommend it more. I mean, it's each time even at my Apple user group, the older folks, a lot of them don't want to spend the money on the technology. I remember when the Zero came out, and after 6 months, I asked anybody has a watch. Did they raise their hand? No. So now when I go into, I just did it last month, and everybody's raising their hands now. It's awesome to see. It really is that people are really, really adopting the watch, and it shows because Apple obviously knows it's very popular now. So,
and I'm even more excited about the additional features like the heart monitoring and
that too. Yeah,
and the fall tracking and things like that.
Did you turn yours on?
Not because I have a heart issue and not because I'm particularly klutzy, but I feel like those are really good things to have. And I'm sort of hopeful that they will get more popular because, like, for example, my mom and her husband were riding their bicycles, and her husband got ahead of her and pulled into the garage, and she like hit a dip in the road or something, and it threw her bike off, and my mom wrecked her bike and was laying there on the road, like low traffic, like it wasn't like, they were on the freeway or anything, like she wasn't in any danger, but she had broke her leg in like 2 places and broke her hip, and is laying there in the road, and he like put his bike away and turned around and like realized my mom wasn't behind him anymore, and went to find, and they were pretty close to home, so it wasn't like she was far or anything, but in that time she could have picked up her arm and already had the ambulance on the way by the time something happened. And like, or the fall thing would have alerted somebody, and because I don't know, but like my dad also at one point fell and broke his hip a few years ago. And, like the same sort of thing, like I would have felt a lot better. Like he wasn't alone, and they knew immediately, like somebody looked over and saw, like somebody happened to look out the window, see his feet in the air as he landed. And so like, again, not any imminent danger or anything, but like a serious thing that happened, and he could have had that happen while he was by himself. And so, like I want an unlimited budget because I just want everyone I know to have an Apple Watch so that stuff like that doesn't happen anymore. Or if something happens, like they have the capability to get help if they need it. And, those are things that I think are really great. I know I was talking to, I was on Mac Break Weekly with Stephen Aquino, who called in after the event and was talking about some of the accessibility features and stuff. And I know a number of people who have said some really interesting stuff about the watch, and I'm super interested in that because that's not how I use it.
No.
Like I don't have a visual impairment or audio impairment or anything. So I'm curious how it's helpful for other people. And it's been really interesting to see how that side has evolved as well, because it's very much in keeping with iOS, which is also a very, very accessible operating system. Yeah. So even if you think like maybe this isn't for you, like there's a lot of ways that you can make it better. And I'm going to give a pro tip right here for every Apple Watch person, because everybody can do this. It doesn't matter if you have a Zero or the newest and the latest and greatest. Yep. And I know this because I had it on my old watch and it was awesome. One thing that I like to do with mine is you can change the color, on the watch face.
Right.
And one of the ones I like to do, if it'll show, is set a red one. Yeah. And part of the reason for that is because then when it lights up, it doesn't light up very bright.
Okay.
But it's still very readable, because it's the same like brightness as everything else. But when it's red, it's not as bothersome. So you see a lot of like red light. Like if you go to a star party or something, they will always have like red cellophane you wrap around your cell phone so that the bright light isn't distracting. And so like if you're in the movies, I use that like with theater mode. Hi, telescope nerds. So like if you use theater mode and you tap on your watch and need to wake it up for something, like if you need to see the time or something on your watch face, then you can use the red watch face and it's less distracting like to people around you. Or if you ever need it in like low light situations, the red watch face is a really good way to do that.
well, I just learned something new. That's what we want here on In Touch with iOS. Some new tips, and that was great. One thing I was going to mention about the fall feature that the watch has, I believe, when you put your birth date in, it doesn't turn on automatically unless you're 65 or older. So you do have to go in.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you knew that, but yes, you do have to do that. So anyway, I think we talked a lot about the Apple Watch, but I know you've been itching to talk about the new iPad because
I have
it, and I've only had it for. I think it's I went and picked it up 24 hours ago today. So
okay.
There yesterday at the store, and interesting, just kind of give people the experience as far as the purchase goes. I waited. I didn't do pre-order. I'm starting to see, I think Apple is really not having as much problem getting product in people's hands anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That don't have to rush out and order it online anymore. I mean, I did it anyway because I did it anyway as far as ordering it online to pick it up at a store because that's the first thing you think of. Well, let me order it because I don't want to go to the store and then find out they don't have it. So
yes.
But even more of a pain is I get a business discount, so I get a little bit off on all the items. So then I got to do a refund, and then I have to repurchase it. So a little more extra work. But I did see as soon as I went into the Apple Store app yesterday, and every store in my area had them in stock. So there was absolutely no issues at all.
Mm-hmm.
Experience in the store, as always, is always great. I mean, it's very, very good experience. They took to pick up the product, but they had no problems. I was very tempted to get the 12.9 inch. I looked at it. I was like, God, this thing looks a lot nicer than, because I had the original one.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't see each other at Mac Stock a couple years ago, and I did a presentation on which one is best for you. I ended up having both because I had both at the time, so I could go crazy. Excuse me. I sold the 12.519. I just thought it was too big. But I'm glad I got I'm glad I got the 11 inch. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very sleek design. I like how they've kind of changed the edges so they're more square. They're not rounded.
Yeah.
So it's a really good looking iPad. The biggest thing I think people are going to be happy with is the performance. I definitely see the performance as far as the A12X processor versus I had the 10.9, the 10.5 inch, which was the A11 processor, and you definitely could still tell the difference between the two as far as the speed goes. Face ID, amazing.
Really?
You have the iPhone 8, right?
Yes. I have no Face ID. And that's not why I'm sad I have an 8. I'm sad I have an 8 because of Animoji. Because again, I'm a sucker for the silly features and not for like the actual usability stuff.
And the way the Face ID works, I'm showing on the camera here, but I'll just describe it. When I go and swipe up, I mean, you saw I just got right away.
Yeah.
It was locked for a while. So it also has a sensor. So if your fingers are anywhere on the camera, it warns you. You're so then now the Face ID works.
See, that was my first question was if you pick it up and your thumb is over the camera, how do you unlock it? That was the first thing I wanted to know.
It tells you it is.
Excellent. So my other question, well, I had lots of questions. So one of the ones I wanted to ask you about was the external keyboard, because my solution, so I have the current until this one, the 10.5 iPad Pro.
Yep.
And I love it, but I have these moments of weakness when I see people talk about the new one, and I'm like, but it's so pretty, it's so new, and I've only had mine since last Christmas, and I kept it in a case. I'm really good, and like, what if I traded it? Like, I have these moments of weakness.
Trading is price.
Yeah, I figured, but I love it, and and the Apple Pencil and all of that is super great. But like with this one, what my solution has always been is just a straight wireless keyboard in some fashion. Is my keyboard out here? No, my keyboard's in my backpack. But I have the Apple wireless keyboard, not the Magic keyboard, but the one before with the little barrel across the back that you put the batteries in. I have that one, and I just carry that around with all of them because I don't want to have to get a new keyboard or new keyboard case and be on the hook for another $100 or more every time I buy a new iPad. So I've had the same keyboard solution for mine forever because I had that keyboard, and I don't type on it at my desk because I have this gorgeous Matthias wireless keyboard instead that makes me really happy. And so I have this other one. It's super thin. It takes 2 AA batteries. I just drop it in my bag, and if I ever go somewhere where I need to type on a physical keyboard, I can pop this out and, just set my iPad up regularly and type away, and I'm good. So I'm curious how the keyboard is on this, because I'm sort of fussy about my keyboards. So how is the smart keyboard in real life?
If you're fussy with it, yeah, you might. I don't know if you've tried the smart keyboard in the past with the current model, the model you have. I wasn't real thrilled with it because that's why I didn't get it. It was just hard to type on. It was like boop, boop, boop. It's hard with the keys. They have improved this keyboard a little bit. I mean, I would go in store if you're ready to buy it, of course. But I think it's got a smooth motion, and I'm not having, I kind of only had it for less than almost a day, so I haven't been able to have too much time on it yet. But I could tell that the keyboard is better because I had the previous smart keyboard and I just didn't like it. So the other thing with this case too is the awesome part about it is it's covering the whole iPad, and that drove me nuts. They had the other smart keyboard that didn't cover the back of it. It's like, oh, I want to protect it, and I can't. Now I have to buy a back for it. The other thing too is they changed the level, so now you can go up, and then you can also go.
Oh, okay.
So
one for the table, one for the lap.
One for the lap, so you can adjust it. That was kind of smart as far as that. Now you talk about the Apple Pencil. I mean, this pencil is so much better. I mean,
it only has one flat side, right? Because there's a couple pictures where it seems like it's pencil shaped.
Nope, it's flat.
And somewhere it's not. Okay.
It's flat because it has to click to the iPad, and then you see how you heard how it grabbed, and then if you see Apple Pencil at the top, so it automatically tells you that it's connected and charging.
See, I thought they had to make a flat side so people would stop losing them when they roll off the desk.
Well, that's what I thought too. Well, it still rolls, so I've dropped it a few times.
But it only makes one lap, right? Or does it make it all the way off?
Oh, let me try. Let's see if it rolls. Yeah, it slows down. So I guess
okay.
Other people were complaining like with cases. I mean, there was I talked about it yesterday on Back to the Future with a guy. He's calling it the pencil is impotent because it doesn't stick because the cases aren't ready. But that's But there are these case manufacturers are going to have to react to it. I mean, the only place that really stick it, you can connect it is at the top of the iPad, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me at all because now I pull this keyboard out, I cover it. It's fully covered. I mean, I got everything protected. I actually had a case that I carry this in. It's kind of like a pouch. This actually is smaller than the other iPad because I had an iPad case that because you never had a holder for the pencil. It was just because so I had one where it had like a little rubber thing on the case. So I it in. And of course, the dorkiest thing in the world is you got that pencil sticking out the iPad.
The charging on it I'm
awful. I mean,
I'm like embarrassed that was the how is that the best you can do? Yeah, but too. Remember that came like hot on the heels of the Magic Mouse that you charge by sticking the cable square into the bottom of it. So I was like, I don't know who's in charge of this, but could they not be anymore? And apparently they're not, because now you get the wireless charging on the pencil and it's super great.
Yeah, they need to be fired. But the keyboard, if you got to try it. I mean, again, especially the keyboards you use, you may want to feel it out first before you would do anything with it. But I would do that. Well, I have strong feelings about keyboards. I know you do.
If you want to do a whole nother show about keyboards, I'm more than happy to sit and talk to you about keyboards. Like
we're going to find a different show for that one. That's keyboards for everything. So
yeah, well, because I got grumpy when they switched to the chiclet keyboard, and we know how long ago that was. And I've never been completely happy with them since, basically. No. So, because I liked the spring on the silver square, on the square silver keyboard. But yeah, the other thing I think about it with the iPads in particular is that until they got to be the 10.5, if you had a keyboard that was as wide as your iPad, like it wasn't full. Like it wasn't a full keyboard, so it wasn't quite right. They were, 7/8, like those weird little, like when you used to see like super portable laptop kind of stuff, you know.
Tiny ones.
Yeah, those little like 7/8 keyboards, like they were awful. And so that's like, I've tried typing on a few of those, and that's why I just finally gave up and went, this is the keyboard. I carry it around separately. This is what I do. I need to get one of those like little wraparound cases. I've seen a few, like, you know, a case or a pouch or something for my keyboard. But that's why I carry that one around, is because like that's the closest I can come to an actual experience. And I don't care that it's wider.
Right.
I care that like the reason I'm carrying around the keyboard is because I really need to crank out whatever it is I need to crank out, and it takes a physical keyboard. And if it takes a physical keyboard, I'm going to use one that I'm used to.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I'm hopeful that the new smart keyboard, like maybe, especially if the last iteration isn't great, that's a good thing to know because to make myself feel better that I don't get in, if I don't end up with a new iPad, what I will probably do to make myself feel better is buy my old one a present. And so if the last smart keyboard sucked, I don't want it to be that. Maybe I need to get like a different keyboard case or, you know, something like that instead. So,
and then the way they changed the smart connector too, because if you on your iPad, it's down here.
Yeah.
So when you pop it down, that's how it connects. What they did on this iPad is they put it back here on the back. So that's why they were able to get a cover that covers the whole thing, because now it's going to cover the back completely and protect it, and then it connects. So that's
really good.
They did a good job with that. One thing I'll mention too is because iOS 12 is pretty awesome. I mean, it's been very fast on iPhone, and it's very fast on the iPad too. The setup was awesome. I mean, this is by far, I think this is the fastest I got my iPads transitioned over than I can remember, and I've pretty much had every iPad model. So I had my iPad 10.5 right next to the new 11. You know how it automatically does the setup. So it says, you know. Mm-hmm. You want to copy everything off from the other iPad. Okay, let me sign in. It syncs it, and then you bring the camera up and you scan it just like with the watch. And everything happened. I mean, and it literally downloaded every app. I mean, I must have had it all done within probably 20 minutes.
Wow.
I mean, it really was a very, very good experience. And I'm really thrilled how Apple has really done a great job of copying setting that up. And I didn't have to go any setting other than you have to put passwords in, of course, for your emails. Right. Like that, but beyond that, every app I had on the other iPad is on this new iPad, so it syncs perfectly.
You know, I've been really interested in how Apple has found interesting ways to make ad hoc networking a useful thing, like that close proximity stuff. Right. Like, what's the one that I just used the other day? Oh, like if you are at my house and you want to put your iPhone or your iPad on my Wi-Fi, it will when you get to that screen, it pops up on my screen and says, like, this device is trying to get on. Is that okay? Do you want to send them the credentials? And then you don't have to type anything. I just say, okay. And then it's like, you have Wi-Fi now. And that, like, I was like, the first time that happened, I'm like, wait, what is this? Yeah. And then like looked at it and went, oh, well, yeah, I know you just asked me for the password. So what if I do this? Bing, Wi-Fi. And like, it was awesome. And, you know, I remember we used to complain so much about AirDrop when it first started because it was terrible. It was terrible. It was objectively awful. Like there's no, this isn't me remembering badly. Like, yeah. So. But it's improved a little, and then you know, being able to configure an Apple TV if you have an iPhone in the vicinity is great. The backup stuff now is awesome, and you know, going back and forth, you know, and adding the Wi-Fi, and AirDrop has gotten more reliable. So all of that's been really great, and I'm interested in that evolution. I don't think we've sort of I don't think people are discussing that because, you know, it's just, oh well, AirDrop sucks less now, I can use that, and then just sort of using it. Yeah,
exactly. So the other big topic of change on the iPad is, of course, is the USB-C port. It's no longer a Lightning port. So I know some were unhappy with it. Others were excited and ecstatic about it. I don't care. I think it's great. I think it's important because USB-C is really becoming a big standard on all of our systems. I mean, the MacBook Pro went to USB-C and Thunderbolt 3, so that changed. So it's an 18-watt charger that's in the box, which I found a little questionable. I'm going to be curious to see once I get my iPad down to near zero and how long it's going to. This is supposed to be a fast charger that's in the in the box, so it's a little smaller, but it comes with a USB-C cable that's in the box to charge it. So people who had already gone out and bought the Apple's 29 watt USB-C brick that was, I think, was for the smaller MacBook.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to do it. Unfortunately, now
don't do it. I'll tell you why. You can do a lot better charge wise by picking up something from Anchor. Yeah.
Automatic.
This isn't a promotion. They're not sponsoring me or anything. I just love their stuff. And they have they were one of the first to come out, the first people who weren't responsible for the hardware that had the USB-C port. They were the first to come out with a wall charger that you could poke a USB-C cable into. They have like one port. They have some that are like a couple of A ports and a C port and some other, and they have like monster output to all of those ports. So they do like fast charge and quick charge and all this kind of stuff. And I've got a couple of their chargers, and and they have some smart stuff too. Like if you need one to toss in your backpack, they make a couple where the prongs fold in so that it doesn't get damaged when you travel. They make one that has a few ports, so it's kind of wide, but the prongs are rotated 90 degrees, so it doesn't block the other port, the other outlet, when you plug it in. Right. So they do some real smart stuff like that. And they have chargers with, 8 ports, 10 ports, whatever. And you can get some real awesome throughput in some of those like desk chargers and stuff. So that's why I would say don't go buy the 29 watt one, because you can probably get something from Anchor that will charge your phone with an A cable and your iPad with a C cable, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the 10 port brick that Anchor. I've been carrying that around with me forever. Of course, now I can't charge my iPad anymore with that one. But I've also had the battery too, the 20,000 milliamp one, but that's only USB-A. So,
right.
I'm gonna have.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a battery yet or not.
I was poking around yesterday. That was the first thing I did. Start looking for another battery because I'm obsessed with having to make sure my stuff is charged.
Oh, sure. Yeah, AppCamp has a fair amount of Anchor hardware as well.
Anchor makes great stuff.
It's time for this. Yeah.
We
have to charge iPads now. Okay, we better buy a new Anchor thingy. Okay, it's this one. All right.
Exactly. So, other couple of cool things that the iPad can do is it actually can charge your iPhone. But of course you have to have the lightning cable, which I think a lot of people had already had purchased when they bought their MacBook Pros with the So I may have to run out and get one of those now, so I can. I didn't never bought that. And then a lot of the USB-C adapters already work with it as well, like the AV one for the Mac, also with the iPad, which is awesome. They do have a new one with that's the USB-C to an SD card reader. So you can grab all your photos real quickly onto the iPad. So.
And that's one of the ones that I was curious about when they started talking about like, and you can plug in other stuff. You don't have to just charge with this cable, or with this port. I mean, one of the first things I thought of was, can you do things both ways? Right. Because I was trying to help someone solve this problem. They were on the Pacific Crest Trail and trying to use SD cards and like an SD card reader, a micro SD card reader, in the lightning port of a phone. And can I back my photos up to it? Well, not really. And if I put music on it, can I copy the music off the SD card and onto my phone? Not having cell reception in places if you're doing section hiking, and things like that, like not having any sort of reception. So the only way to have stuff was put it on, if it's on a card and I want to listen to that on my phone, or I want to, read that on my phone, or I want to, make sure I'm backing up my photos. Like, how do I do that? And like, you can take stuff off to a card sort of, but you can't put anything on the other way. And I felt like it was weird and mostly frustrating, because the only way any of it worked was if you had a computer as a middleman, you could take it from the card onto the hard drive of the laptop, and then you could take it from the laptop to the phone, or you can plug your phone in and run image capture and scoop all that stuff onto the laptop's hard drive. Then you have a backup, but you can't take a laptop with you on a distance hike and, one thing and another. So it was frustrating to try to be like, of course there's a solution for that problem, and then find out like, no, Kelly, there really isn't. So that's why I was very curious about the iPad specifically. When they were like, you can plug it into a monitor, and I'm like, can you plug in a card? And go both ways. Like, that was the thing I wanted to know. Like, if you were to put Photoshop files on an SD card and then take that SD card and go plug it into your iPad, once you get actual Photoshop on your iPad, and you can open up Photoshop and do whatever work you want, can you save it back to the card and then take the card back to your computer and pick up where you left off? Like, I don't know if that's a thing.
That's a good question, because, they always have been very limited as far as the file management, going back and forth. I mean, there are devices that have been out there where you could copy back and forth. Even on the iPhone, I had a SanDisk one where you'd plug it into the Lightning, and it was like a solid state little drive.
Yeah.
So it's very possible. I would think it would happen. I mean, as far as plugging in the monitors, though, and of course, you can't use the cable that comes with the power adapter. So
no.
You have to use the cable, because it's a specific Thunderbolt 3 type plug that allows it to plug right directly into the monitor. So, but it does work great from what I saw during the keynote and when they talked about it. But that's a game changer. That's really awesome, and I think you're going to see more and more people, if they think they can work in the iOS world, especially with Photoshop coming, to that's going to be cool.
Well, and I'm curious, like, what other, like, for me, like, when we first saw the iPad, I was really excited about it. Not at that point because I had one or needed one necessarily, or, like, of course I wanted one because it was new and cool, but I was excited about it because I could see the potential in it for other people, because it really seemed like, especially that first one, even without the camera, it was really the sweet spot between carrying your laptop around and just having this phone. Because remember, phones were way smaller then.
Sure.
And that was a thing that I really wondered about, because I could see where it would be awesome for lots of people to be able to have that much screen, that much room to work on, whatever. And I was really excited about where that was going to go. And we've seen it in all kinds of ways. Like, now that it has a camera, you can shoot high-end video with it. You can do video production with it. You can do audio production with it. Like, I'm not trying to advertise, but I have a Westworld podcast, and 100% of the editing and processing of that show happens on my iPad every time. Thanks to Ferrite for making it possible for me to be able to edit a show, because me and Auphonic do not speak the same language.
No.
And like, I never could make anything work in GarageBand, and Logic is just swatting a fly with a Buick, as a friend of mine used to say. And yes, thank you, Dave Kalo, for that colorful phrase. So Ferrite is the right amount, and like, I can physically put my hands on it and pull it apart, and swap video and do, swap audio tracks around and all that stuff. And so for me, that's one of the things that I really love about it. And if I really wanted to, and if Don Melton and I were in the same place and doing the Westworld show together more than once ever, because we did one. When I went to WWDC, he and I got in the same room and recorded that episode together. But, if we were in the same room, I could hook 2 microphones to my iPad and call it good. And we could have the entire show happen from an iPad. And that possibility is awesome. So I'm really excited about the straight up USB-C port for the potential of what it can be. And I'm hoping that people who are already making USB-C stuff, whether it's for MacBooks or for super portable computers that are similar in that, like, maybe there's 1 or 2 ports and they're both USB-C, and you plug into it you plug in a USB-C cable to charge it. I'm hopeful that people who are already working on that are going to work on a way to make that stuff work on iOS as well.
Yeah.
And I'm really hopeful that there's going to be some really cool stuff that you can plug into that. Like, maybe somebody's going to make the color sampler. Like, I don't know what the official thing is, but like, for pre-press that you hang on your monitor to calibrate your monitor to the right thing so that you're getting print quality. One of those, like, maybe you can get that for an iPad, or loads and loads and loads of other things. So I'm really looking forward about 6 months from now, like next spring, once it's out and it's a known quantity and companies have had a chance to get their hands on one and really see what the limitations of that port are, how they work within those limitations to turn out actual hardware and see what happens with it. So I think that's going to be super duper exciting.
And then the last thing I'll talk about with hardware and iPad is the pencil itself. I wanted to find out, with that double tapping, I was very excited about that because when I saw that Photoshop and tapped up and then it zoomed right into the pixels, right into the photo, I was like, holy cow, that is awesome. I'm hoping that other app developers tap into that. It turns out it is an open source, so developers can dive into that, but it's going to take them time, of course.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to get something like PDF Expert. I love PDF Expert when I'm looking at documents all the time. I could just take the pencil, go tap, and zoom, and then I can I can annotate.
Yeah.
Things like that.
How does it compare, to you, aside from the gestures? How does this pencil compare to the round one?
Oh, blows it away. I mean,
really?
Writing it's got a much better feel writing.
Okay.
Right now, even with notes, I mean, I can tap and it brings up the pencil, whatever pencil version you want. It zips up, and but as far as writing goes, there's no comparison. They did a much better job of the way the pencil reacts as far as in writing, and annotating, and it does feel a lot better. But I was very intrigued about the two taps to find out has anybody really dived in.
Sure.
I'm sure they're already, as we are speaking, I'm sure there's plenty of other
I'm already in my head going okay, who's gonna be into that and how are they gonna do it? Because I know a few people that a few developers or a few apps where I know and I'm setting arbitrary deadlines here, but by Thanksgiving they're gonna have app updates out to take advantage of the pencil in some way, even if it's not the double tap, but being able to do something interesting with a gesture in the pencil. And the thing is, I'm impressed with the original pencil. I've used the original pencil and it's super because I tried styluses on previous iterations before there was an Apple Pencil option. Oh, it was terrible. I tried a bunch and, nothing was and there was no pressure sensitivity and there wasn't a lot you could do. And a line is a line is a line. And I remember at one point trying to help Mr. Kelly solve a problem where, he wanted to be able to take notes in meetings, but he wanted to be able to search all those notes. And I'm like, well, the way you do that is, something like Notability, for example, where you can scribble in it. And it didn't, and it didn't work because I'm like, well, here, I have this handful of styluses, try these with your iPad and see what you think. And, it doesn't help any that he does not have great handwriting. He himself admits it. So I give him all these and he, they would lag behind and, they would skip. And so it couldn't go back in OCR, anything that had handwriting recognition, even if it recognized his handwriting, there'd be a weird line in the middle because it would stop registering here and start registering over here. And the experience was just terrible. And I remember trying the Apple Pencil on my iPad and showing it to him and going, that, I know it's 2 years too late, but this is the thing that solves the problem that you were trying to solve. Right. They finally figured it out and, the palm rejection and the whole thing and being able to do that. And, and I didn't hold out a lot of hope for that personally because I'm left-handed.
Yeah, me
so
too.
I always thought it was never gonna, that's part of why I'm excited to be able to do it with the pencil because no more blue hand, it's a brave new world.
Well, we're both lefties.
Yes, it's a brave new world with no blue hand. And, people are like, how did you end up such a pen nerd? I'm like, I'm not a pen nerd. I just got tired of smearing everything as I wrote. So
did that.
That's why I'm like, no, you have to use the skinny point because the ink dries faster. And I only write with 0.38. And if you give me anything higher, I'm going to reject it because it won't be writing by the time I'm done. It's just going to be art. And, being able to do this with the pencil and have it recognize that I'm left-handed and this is where, and so this is my hand and this is where it goes. And then, I have a page of handwritten notes and my hand is in blue is really exciting. It shouldn't be because it's 2018. Like we can send a man to the moon, but you can't get rid of my blue hand. And, yeah. So like, it's some of the small things that happen with that. Like that's part of what I was looking forward to in finding out about the new iPad was how the new pencil holds up.
So far, so good. Again, I only had a day of using it, so I definitely go back in future episodes, and you and I will talk about it. And
oh yes,
we'll find out more. So let's. We're getting tight on time here, so let's. We both had some gear that we decided to talk about, and
yes,
one thing that caught my eye, and I jumped and bought it because it was advertised for $20. Should have been, because you get those pop-ups all the time from. I think it was on Instagram. I was looking at, hey, this is from iHome, and I said, oh yeah, I've always owned. I've owned iHome products in the past. This was a small little guest clock radio, if you want to call it. It's the IBTW39. We'll have a link in the show notes. Their price right now is $79.99. But this guy is pretty nifty. It's got a kind of cloth back to it, and it's got a transparent as far as the digits of the clock, and you can dim it. Unfortunately, I wish it would dim lower than it really does, especially at night and it's on your bedside. But it's Qi charging, so it's got a stand specific for the iPhone. And the cool thing too is you can have it close by because maybe you want to watch some videos and have it charge. Well, you can do it both horizontal and vertical, and it'll still charge because Qi charging. It's gonna keep it on there too. Mm-hmm. Speaker sound is okay. It's not. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy over it. They do have an app that you can control some of the functions of the device as well.
Yeah.
It's buttons and if then does that integration, and it also has a USB port on the back. So I've got my my Apple Watch charger on the back, plugged right back into it. So I have one place plugged into everything. You can dim, you can do all kinds of stuff with the clock, and it's also Bluetooth, so it will connect the iPhone to it, so you can play music. So I thought it was pretty cool little device, and the cheapest price I've seen it, and that's what I got for it, was $59.99. I haven't seen it advertised as of late, but I wouldn't be at all surprised with Black Friday coming up. And you just talked about some Black Friday stuff. There's some pretty exciting stuff. In fact, I just saw the leak of the Best Buy. The HomePod was down to $249. I was like, oh, yeah,
what?
It was leaked out, on the Best Buy site for Black Friday. So. So you definitely want to be. We've talked about stuff on Black Friday in the previous episodes. I think we're going to have to do another episode on that.
I might need one of those. Yeah, especially as they see the value in extending that earlier, and maybe things happen a little sooner, or letting people know what your deals are before, the day before Thanksgiving. Yeah, so so watching that, like, on the one hand, it's sort of exhausting to be like, trick or treat, Black Friday. It feels a little whiplashy still, but especially, and I think part of it is just because I don't like that now my birthday gets stomped on in the stampede from Halloween to Christmas. So
let's do it. Mine's Saturday.
You understand. So I think I think for me, that's part of it. But the fact that the information is more easily available now, I think is really great. And I like getting to find out ahead of time, but man, $250.
Yeah. It's going to be a good price. So anyway, you had a pick. I love these guys that they do a great job with their products.
Oh, they do. I have such a crush on 12 South.
12 South.
Generally whatever they make, if you have a thing that works for that, you want this one. Like if there's a 12 South version of it, whatever it is. And I'll tell you right now, the case on my phone is the 12 South wallet case.
Nice.
Not the folio one. It's just like two card slots in the back. I don't have anything in them right now, but I really like being able to put like my credit card in one and my driver's license in one. And then like, I never go anywhere without my phone. Like from room to room in my house, I won't go anywhere without my phone. So I can have everything in one place, and it's super compact, and I can have everything I need, all at once. They make, so you were talking about, basically like a nightstand charger,
right?
Which is sort of what this is. I'm super interested to see one of these. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
like in person. I've seen it on their website, and it's a picture frame, and the picture frame like leans back a little bit at an angle, like a regular picture frame does. And so you put whatever picture in it you want, and then it's the frame is a raised edge. So the picture is set back a little bit from the front of the frame. So it's sort of, inset a little bit, almost like a tray. And at night you put your phone on it, and it's a Qi charger.
Nice.
So at night, when you're not looking at the picture anyway, because presumably it's dark and you're sleeping, it's charging your phone for you. And then the rest of the time you pick it up and take it with you, or you could probably use this like on your desk, when you're not charging, it's just a picture. It's not, it's not like mine. I have a Qi charger stand on my nightstand, and it looks like the thing that you set your phone on at night. Like that's what it is. And this would make that a little bit nicer, because it would just be a picture frame with a picture in it, and you can have whatever picture you want. And they have some examples on their site. You can download some wallpapers.
Nice.
So they have like coordinating wallpaper. So, you put something cool on the lock screen of your phone, and then it matches up with the picture. You can get a picture and put the picture in the frame, and then you get this lock screen that coordinates with it. Like one of the ones that they show is like a person walking, and then the lock screen is the Eiffel Tower. And so when you set your phone in the frame, there's like this guy walking over here, and the background is exactly the same all the way across of the Eiffel Tower. So they do some cool stuff like that. And I really enjoy, like I said, I enjoy all their stuff. And I really thought this was a very, very clever way to let people charge their phones, and make it something that sort of fades into the background the rest of the time. Because it wouldn't be weird to have a framed photo on your nightstand or a framed photo on your desk, the rest of the time. And then, oh, by the way, it's how I charge my phone. Bump.
Yeah, exactly. No, it looks cool. We'll definitely have a link on that to the show notes. And I think you and I just came up with some 2 great potential gift ideas, and they're coming up. So I can't believe the time has just flown by. We're have to wrap things up here, because
I know
it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you being here. Let me do our outro here. We'll wrap these things up here.
Okay.
Listening, and we hope you're more in touch with iOS after hearing this episode. Subscribe to our podcast and your favorite podcatcher, and show your friends how to find us on the Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or on Spotify, even in TuneIn. Email your questions and comments to feedback@intouchwithios.com. And use that address, or visit our website at intouchwithios.com and click contact, or simply add a comment in the show notes. We're looking forward to bringing you more useful information in future episodes. My name is Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. And Kelly, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you don't have to look very hard. You can find me on Twitter. You should find me on micro.blog. I am Verso in both places. You can hear me on the Mac Observer Daily Observation podcast, where I am the host.
You are.
I'm still not quite used to saying that. Like I did that show for a long time as an occasional panelist, and I've done other shows, and one episode of that show and 3 different people are like, Queen Buckaroo, and I'm like, what is happening? So, it was so funny. And then at the same time, it freaks me out a little bit. It's like, oh geez, I do a show that people listen to now. How do I react to that? You can find me there. You can find me writing the occasional post over at macobserver.com. You can hear me on the Incomparable Network the rest of the time, and when I'm not doing that, I am volunteering with App Camp for Girls, and you can check out that website at appcamp4girls.com. If you are friends with me on Facebook, or if you just go look me up on Facebook, you will see that I am doing a fundraiser for App Camp for my birthday, and you can donate some money that way too if you want to.
Fun. All right. Well, I can't thank you enough for being here, and we hope you subscribe to future episodes. And everybody, thanks for listening.